This is a whole different. We're gonna spin this thing. We're gonna go away from what we're talking about. We're gonna segue into other coaching decision that everybody's been talking about from last
the
night,
NFL.
from Monday night. Right?
Peyton Manning was not happy.
Hey, that's what I was about to ask you. Anybody watch the Manning cast?
Yeah.
I watched.
I love it.
That's
I didn't
What
watch
was
it,
it?
but yeah.
32? No.
62
62 times he
62.
called timeout.
Kept going.
62 times.
62 times he called timeout. He said, we probably should call timeout here. I think we probably should call timeout. Think it over. Let's
right.
take some time
Timeout.
here.
Timeout.
Call timeout. Him, Eli, and
Shannon.
Shannon
Kick what?
was awesome.
They gonna do what?
hey, I watched that video the first time and I didn't finish it all the way through.
Yeah.
And then
That's
I
the
watched
best part
it,
of the video.
And then I watched it again. I'm like, oh my god, this
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
gold. This is TV
Yeah.
gold, right? One, I know everybody wants to talk about that last play. It was 4th and 5, bro. The way they handled that, the from first down on, was bad.
Yeah.
Right. It wasn't just that. It wasn't just 3rd down to 4th down. It was like from 1st down to 4th down, and the way they did it. And like, hey, listen, I understand what the thought process was from the coach in the sense that, hey, at the last resort, our line to gain is the 46-yard line because our kicker said that he has this range, right?
Yeah.
That's what we need to get
Which
to.
in theory sounds great.
Right. The last resort. Like, hey, if it comes down to it, okay, and we go and we're driving, we can't get any further, and we get to the 46-yard line, we have a chance to win.
Yeah.
Playing for the 46-yard line is a different story.
We just think of it this way. There's only one way to think about it for me is if you lose that game like they did and you kicked, right? Are people being and you go for it and you don't get to 4th and 5? Are people going to be like,
No, you should have kicked it.
God, dog, they should have kicked that. I knew
No.
they should have kicked that.
Nobody's
Never.
going to say that for 64
Ever. So go for it.
Hey,
And
I will say this though. I think that is kind of like, look, at the end of the day, bro, like that's a human as a head coach too, right? I get it. He's got all kind of experience. He's coached for however many years. But he's never head coached before.
Right.
And I do think that is kind of the downfall because he's been around Aaron Rodgers for years. I think I don't remember where it was before, but I think there's a really good quarterback there when he had a job somewhere else before. I think things like that kind of hindered where he's growing as a coach because he's never done this before, where he's kind of had to take the back seat of this. Head coach is making the decisions. He's got a all-time quarterback doing the other part of it. Like, I'm just here.
Well, here's the thing. You have a franchise quarterback. You have a guy you pay a lot of money to. Like, you'd rather have the ball in that guy's hands
100%.
than a kicker because, listen, as good as he may be and as big of a leg as he may have, like, 64-yarder is very hard to make. It's not.
And I will say
percentages aren't very high at making that.
Just like you said, too,
3%.
they wasted 30 seconds.
3%.
They wasted 30 seconds before they called that timeout, and they had 2 left.
Right.
Bro, run another play.
Right. Well, and I know what they did it.
But
They did it because they're playing for the field goal, so they didn't have time to.
And all right, I explained that wrong because just like you said, I really meant like the entire rest of that drive. They did a bad job of getting to the line, running plays, moving the ball. They were moving the ball, but they were taking their time. They still had all these timeouts. Then when you get to that spot, they have run 30 seconds off the clock and call a timeout to kick it from that spot. There was just so many things where you're like, dude, I guess, man, like if you started the drive and said, hey, we got to get to this yard line. But like, wow, you have all this time left. You have all these timeouts left. Let's keep moving. And I'm not necessarily just talking about those last 30 seconds.
You talk about away games don't matter. I mean, look at what happened in Seattle with the 12. I mean, they couldn't get plays in and out of the huddle. He was constantly covering his ears. Russell has never been in that situation before where that was the opposition. That he was constantly running it down to 8, 7, 6.
Yeah, it was an emotional game for him. It was an emotional game for Seattle. Like I get all of that, right? But I'm not even talking about the whole game. Like I'm talking about that.
No, I was talking about when you said LSU and like true road games. That was a true road game for Denver, and it clearly made a difference. Rookie head coach.
College and NFL is so much different, though.
I would say college is harder.
No, I would disagree with you.
How?
Wholeheartedly.
There's 40,000 more people there.
Because the crowd, because the actual guys on the field are not as good as the other. Like it is a discernible difference of talent on the field from
not even just talent,
preparation
too.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about crowd influence. I'm not talking about the talent.
I understand that, but when you have that much more talent than the other team, the crowd influence shouldn't matter. It matters a little bit in the sense that when your team are closer together talent wise, when you are better than the other team talent wise, or you're supposed to be better than the other team, you can get through the crowd noise. In the NFL, everybody can beat everybody in any given day. So the crowd noise does make that big of a difference.
You didn't go into that game thinking Denver was probably 6 points better than Seattle?
I mean, I did, but it's the NFL. Like, they're professional athletes. Like, you don't have...
Okay, I know what he's doing.
I know.
But my thing is this: you're bringing this up, but what did you talk about pre-show?
What did I talk about pre-show?
You sat there and you literally talked about guys who played in the preseason and guys who didn't. So you're right now trying to tell me that you think the crowd had a more of an effect than them not playing at all together in the preseason.
Right.
I would tell you that you're crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I would say you don't get that same effect in the preseason. The crowd doesn't have 70,000 strong.
He's talking about
I'm
the
not
reason why they played the way is because of the
all
players.
of those factors play together, would they not? Like, we haven't played together yet. Now we're going to a hostile road environment week 1 where we haven't been together yet, and we're not at home. I'd imagine if you look,
of course, that makes it difficult, no doubt. But what I'm saying is,
factor is all I'm saying.
But what I'm saying, to say that it's harder than in college. I mean, it's harder in college than it is in the NFL. I disagree with that.
How they're younger, they don't really know.
Because the talent is so discernibly different. Alabama,
the talent gap is bigger.
The talent gap is so much bigger in college than it is in the NFL.
Gap.
I would disagree. I don't think the talent gap is that much bigger, but what I do think is that much different is
experience.
Not just the experience, dude, the preparation. The amount of time that people put into the actual craft at the NFL level. The amount of time of understanding, hey, this hand signals this, hey, this plays this, hey, we're going to run two, and being able to communicate that stuff, the amount of time is different in what they spend on that. So when you go into those situations, look, the crowd noise is, bro, it's 70,000, 100,000, bro, it's all loud. It don't really matter.
Right.
But if we're not doing what we need to do and we haven't done this stuff together, then that's where the difference is for me. So, like, that's why I'm like, crowd noise is kind of like...
No, I'm just saying you add the crowd noise on top of the fact, especially in the NFL, which is where I'm with you, like... They haven't done. That's the lack of preseason games is showing up. Like you talk about hand signals. You talk about all the stuff.
Because that's where the crowd noise.
Out of the huddle.
Because that's what the crowd noise comes into is when I'm sitting here trying to give you a signal and
you don't know to look.
And now I can't tell it to you.
Right.
That's where it comes in. But the first problem is we're not on the same page with shit that we should have done already. We should know already.
Especially with a guy like Russell Wilson who loves to run everything kind of through him, which is why I was shocked to not see him call a timeout like. On his own, I guess you don't want to. Would that be like some sort of like grandstanding on your coach when you're like upstanding?
Because the guys in his,
we got to burn one here.
Guys,
like,
guys in his position have the autonomy to do that.
That's what I'm saying. That's why you paid him $200+ million to get a 4th and 5. Like we talked about all the talent around him last year that just didn't have a quarterback. Well, now you have a quarterback. You can go for 4th and 5. And
I know that there was a lot of talk made of. They thought that yard line, getting them to that spot, but a 64-yard field goal was where McManus said he was comfortable. Left hash, 64 yards. We're good there. And I guess that the head coach Hackett took that to heart and was like, we don't have to go any farther. Let's burn this thing down.
Well, I was about to say, I think their problem was when they the way they approached that 64-yard kick is that, hey, this is where he's comfortable. This is where we got to get. Not, hey, let's push this thing as far as we can, as quick as we can, and we kick from where.
Here's the other question.
You get what I'm saying? Like, I think they approached it thinking literally coming off the sideline, just get to this yard line when it should have been, no, we're going to go as far as we can with this thing. Hopefully we get inside of that yard line. So you